Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Hopcast. Today I have another beer review for you, and this is an oldie but a goodie. A beer that I've had a couple of different times, but I've never had the original batch one, and that is from Stone Brewing Company's W00tstout. Now this is it says ale brewed with pecans, wheat, and rye, with 1 quarter aged in bourbon barrels. It is an imperial stout, bourbon barrel aged imperial stout. Only 1 quarter of its age. I didn't realize that. I don't know if that's the case with all of these beers, but it is, at least for this first iteration. 13% alcohol by volume. And this was a collaboration stout between Drew Curtis from fark.com. It's kind of like a nerdy website, not really familiar with it. Greg Koch, obviously from Stone Brewing Company, and internet celeb and former star of Star Trek, Wil Wheaton. Say what you want about Wil Wheaton, but I know he's very devout in the nerdy community, and I am a very big nerd geek, so I always had an affinity for this beer. Is bottled on 7/16/2013. Now, where was I in 2013? I'm trying to even remember. This beer is almost 7 years old. Let me read you a little bit of a description on the back. It's got quite a lengthy one, so bear with me. This is Drew Curtis, Wil Wheaton, Greg Koch, Stone Farking Wheaton W00tstout. And the 2 O's in woot are zeros. So it's kind of like a nerdy... I don't really know what woot stands for. It's probably some nerdy reference that I don't know. It says, Wil Wheaton first called us in 2004 to ask if it'd be okay for him to put the Arrogant Bastard logo on his blog's website. Back when people still asked permission to do such things. And I just so happened to answer the phone, back when I still answered the main line sometimes. Since he was so damn enthusiastic about our beers, I said, sure, no problem. All the while thinking, this guy's name sounds familiar. Months later, in a serendipitous turn of fate, I reached out to our 10,000th email newsletter subscriber. Drum roll, Wil Wheaton. Who'd have thunk it? Since his gigs in the iconic Stand By Me and Star Trek The Next Generation, Wil has become quite the Renaissance man, adding author, Wootstock innovator, and homebrewer to his resume. His enthusiasm for the fermentable arts and our beer was such that after many occasions of sharing grog over the years, we decided it was time to brew in collaboration. It was a no-brainer for us to choose Drew Curtis, who many of you know as the twisted mind behind fark.com, as our third cohort. Drew was an old friend of Wil's that I'd serendipitously... He used serendipitous twice in this. Met when he saw me and told me, dude, I love your beer, and enjoyed many beers with him at the famous TED conference 3 years in a row. The beer you hold before you is an imperial stout made with wheat, Wil pretty much insisted. And we also paid tribute to Drew's Kentucky roots by adding rye and pecans to the mix and aging in bourbon barrels. The result? Nothing short of serendipitous. I like it. It also gives you kind of a... that's what Greg Koch said. And then Wil Wheaton said, being a geek isn't about what you love, it's about how you love it. I'm a sci-fi geek, a disruptive technology geek, and a tabletop game geek. I've been lucky to do lots of work in those fields, but this is the first time I got to be a professional beer geek, and it was awesome. And Drew Curtis said, beer tastes like my website, all over the map, but I've never met a beer I didn't like. I hear you there, except for a couple of sours and homebrews I made along the way. So what's Wootstock? I'd have to look that up, but anyway, I don't want this whole video to be about that. Let's go ahead and get into it. So this is the very first iteration of W00tstout coming at you right now. Well, it's still got carbonation, so that's a good sign. Tell you what, it smells fantastic, so we'll see. Let's do a little bit of a pour here. I'm actually only going to pour a little bit, learning from my mistakes here. And let's give it a smell. Wow. Yeah, you can tell it's older, but it's honestly held up quite well, I think. I smell the pecans um, and the sweet taste of the bourbon. Definitely, definitely wheat in there. The head is very thin, but leaves a lot of legs on the glass. You can tell. It smells almost like, and I think this might be because it's older. I'm not the original owner of this. I actually got this as part of a vertical that somebody was getting rid of. It smells like a tinge of metal on the back, like metal that you would smell on something right after it rained. I can't really describe that. I don't know what smell that is, but yeah, lots of stuff going on with this one. Again, this is 13%. I don't really get much booziness at all. Yeah, nothing. No real booziness at all on this one. But it does smell quite interesting. Let's see how it tastes. Lots of bourbon. Kind of, I get some vanilla notes in there. Candied sugar, dark fruits. Try it again. Yeah, I taste like definitely dark fruits, dates. But that smell is just odd. I don't know what it is that I'm smelling. It smells like an off metal taste. Um, Sometimes you get like that when you age beers. I mean, heck, I had a couple of the other half collab beers that I aged. I had that Twigs beer. I know I did it. It was one of my first videos on this channel. And that was 2016, and it didn't hold up nearly as well as this did. All the flavors are still here. Very tasty. Very complex beer. Lots going on. And I almost kind of wish I had one of the newer ones to compare it against, but I'm not about to open two 22-ounce bottles in one day and expect to drink them all. And or I would be toast. But it smells pretty good. This is one to nurse, and I've let it warm up, I think, to about 50 to 55 degrees. A little bit of sniffles from allergies, but yeah, it smells great. It tastes pretty good as well. Yeah, molasses, syrupy, dates, just tastes pretty good. It's kind of cool to see. So this is 2013, and now Woot Stout, I believe, is being produced all year. I might be wrong on that. Um, I'm looking up right now on their website. Okay, This is the 2016 release, but so the vertical I got a 2013, a 2015, a 2016, and a 2017. So I've got 4 of the years there, and I had a 2018, and I have a 2019, which is in a can. So I've got every year but 2014. But I'm not about to do a full vertical of this because there's no way I'd be able to do that by myself. And right now, being quarantined, so not really the time to do that. Yeah, tasty beer, very, very well held up, especially for a mass-produced beer like this is. I think it's got like 40-something thousand check-ins on Untapped. To age this well is pretty impeccable, in my opinion. 2013, this is before, this is before a lot of the other breweries were doing bourbon barrel aged stouts. I'm trying to think of who was around besides like Bourbon County from Goose Island and a couple others that were doing these bourbon barrel aged stouts back then. Really just has made a turn over the last couple of years, but this is a good beer. My thoughts on it, I would probably say the body is a little thin on it, but it is an older stout. The complexity on it is pretty strong. Lots of dark fruits, and which kind of tend to come out a little more as the beer ages. It's very good. The only drawback is that one little weird smell I have on the back end. Not on the back end, but which is honestly starting to fade a little bit, and I think that's just the age of the beer that's giving me that. I'm gonna have to give this one a 4 out of 5. So that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode, beer reviews. I hope you're enjoying the channel. And remember to, if you want to look me up on social media, all that kind of good stuff, and add me on Untapped. All that information is in the comments below. And as always, I will check you guys later.